What is up, shitheads? JJ back here with Holden talking week 8 in the NFL. I thought about putting like a fan on both sides of me, behind me for this video to like overpronounce the win today.
Yeah.
But it seems like social media has kind of done enough of the overpronouncing for me. The past few days, lots to unravel this week. So looking forward to this chat, Holden. How's your week been?
Really good. Thank you for all the amazing college football picks yesterday. I absolutely tailed all you guys, and now I have more money to spend on DFS and betting today. Although, really, all my bets are in, right? I mean, how many bets are we going to make here today at this point?
Yeah, I mean, if you're firing now, like a lot of action, like you should be just kind of fading the line movement at this point. Definitely not grabbing worse numbers, that's for sure.
Yeah, but we're going to try and find you an edge here or there. First of all, how was your Halloween yesterday? You had trunk or treat?
Yeah, I mean, that's the life I live, Holden. You know, alphas like me, they spend their Saturdays with nephews and nieces setting up their trunks, you know. Yeah. No, a lot of kids happy about it. And then I went to a little Halloween party late at night. Yeah. So overall, can't complain. How was yours?
What'd you dress up as?
Nothing. I've dressed up as 3 different things because of my wife makes me wear the weirdest shit. Halloween's her favorite holiday.
So question, real quick. Do you get to do a little role play when it's all said and done, or do you just have to dress up like a schmuck? And not
I dabble in the role play.
Okay, good. And what were you?
We'll keep it PG, but I dabble.
What were you? Yeah, I dressed up like a woman last night and got gangbanged. I'll take a triple X, and that was a wonderful, probably the best Halloween I've ever had. So, anyways.
That took a plot twist quick.
Sorry. Hey, you wanted to keep it clean. I just have to go and tell the truth. Let's do this win thing. Because let me tell you something. Everybody's making fun of me because I'm the guy on Twitter saying 20 mile an hour plus wins for fantasy output is 17 to 20% decrease there. So then you got to look at offense, and there is a slight offense. Now, the numbers are all over the place, but totals go down in the win. I personally think there's going to be a game or two that actually hits the over out of these 5 games. For the most part, I am going to handle them very carefully. And before we get your opinions on this, because that's what we're here for, we got Minnesota, Green Bay, 24 miles an hour, gusts in the upper 30s. It's down from 55.5 to 50. Vegas at Cleveland, same thing, 55.5 down to 48.5. Tennessee, Cincinnati. So this is creeping me out today because I got a lot of these. I got a lot of invested in this game. 20 to 22, open at 54.5 down to 50.5. New England, Buffalo, 20 plus, open 44.5, now 40.5. And then New Orleans and Chicago, heavy wind in the mid 20s, low to mid 20s. Total open at 47, now 42.5. So all these games took massive hits. And JJ on Tuesday, I think we were doing a show or maybe we were just hanging out, and I looked. You know what? It was that Monday night game we started talking about it. I just took the games where there's going to be heavy wind and parlayed them and hit them up. Just see what's going to happen. It's like a tenth of a unit. But I did it. I want to see what happens here, JJ. So tell me why I'm a jackass.
Well, if you're doing it on Tuesday, you're not. That's for sure. You know, I think now, as a whole, when you take these win games, right, the people that are going to bet them under now really are late to the party. And I can't say specifically, we'll talk on each game, but I can't say specifically which ones make sense to now start thinking about betting overs. But, you know, you really just betting unders now, 7 points off the open. I mean, that's on a Sunday morning, not exactly the right thing to do.
No, not a great idea. So any more thoughts on this before we head into the games? I mean, this is massive line movement from the beginning of the week, 4.5 to 5.5 points.
I think I think realistically. So, and I've said this before, if the weather's that bad, like not just wind, like if it's like a legitimate tropical storm or something, like, and the weather's that bad, these totals literally should be like 9.5. Like it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter that the line moves 7-8 points, because you'll watch the game and you'll see 2 teams that just look like they can do nothing in the wind. Like the ball's moving for 5-yard slants. But if you're watching a game and you're seeing like, okay, well, you know, the ball's cutting through without issue, the running game's working fine, I mean, the wind's probably not going to have much impact on the game. It really depends on the type of playing style too, which we'll go over as we talk on each of these games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just think overall this time, this is like the most I can ever remember, like social media, like really taking the ball and running with it in terms of wind and its impact to games. And now your market's trying to kind of trending too far. And I always say you got to be zigging when people are zagging, but we'll touch on each of these games.
All right, well, let's touch on them then. Let's get right into them. And well, let's start with a game here with the win. We've got Minnesota Green Bay. We got mid-20s, like I told you, gusts in the 30s, dropped from 55.5 to 50. Thoughts on this one?
This is which game was this? The Cleveland?
No, this is Minnesota Green Bay.
Okay, so in this game, actually, I lean Minnesota here. Now I know that at the number of is 6.5 current 6.
For this, it is 6.5. Either way you can go.
Lean Minnesota here specifically because this is a team that's shown improvement over the last few weeks. And I know that they kind of stumbled in their last game, but this offense did show a bit of improvement. They do get Dalvin Cook back, different offense with him in the mix. And now, Aaron Rodgers is losing Aaron Jones again. Didn't really matter last week. I'm not sure how much impact it'll have this week. Jamal Williams has been a decent fill-in for him. And they're also using that Boston College running back. I can't remember his name off the top of my head behind Williams. But either way.
A.J. Dillon.
Yeah. So either way, I think that now the wind probably hurts Green Bay more. And I only say that because Green Bay loves to pass with Rodgers. And even between the tackles, like Jamal Williams is not a great between the tackle runner. He's more like he really reminds you a lot of a Gio Bernard because he's really good out of the backfield catching passes, not so great between the tackles. Same thing. A.J. Dillon's a better between the tackles back, but he's not a speedster like Aaron Jones, or at least doesn't have near the speed that Aaron Jones has. Meanwhile, Minnesota, a team that really runs a lot of slant pattern routes and gives a lot to Madison and Cook, whether it's draws, delays. They run the ball a ton. So you would figure from a game style perspective, it would hurt Green Bay more. The only big thing is that, Aaron Rodgers has an absolute, rocket of an arm. So he'll probably be able to cut through the wind regardless. But, throw him deep balls, like that's really Rodgers' thing, not so much Cousins' thing. So that will be heavily impacted. And who's going to be throwing deep balls to? Because Devontae Adams doesn't really run deep. So who? Valdez-Scantling, who can't catch in a sunny day. So, for me, the weather should impact Green Bay more here. Now they could still come out and move up and down the field at will or whatever. But ultimately, at the number, weather conditions being what they are, getting Dalvin Cook back, lean Minnesota.
Very good. I like it. I like Dalvin today too, just because the short passing game. I think they'll hit him there. Vegas at Cleveland. Again, this is the highest win total of the day. And we're 55.5 to 48 by just easily the biggest line move. That's just a monster move there, JJ. So that's the total for this game that we've seen completely go bananas. And then we're down, and Cleveland was a 3-point favorite. It's down to 1 now. So give me the line here. And you know what? This thing dropped again. Now the total is at 47. We're looking at a 9-point drop. This is drastic.
Yeah, I think the big thing with these two teams going at it is who have the Browns actually beaten, right? Because they haven't beaten anybody really of talent. Now, they've beaten up on some bad teams. The big thing I always say, I feel like I say this weekly, right? When Baker Mayfield plays a team that gets no pass rush, I have no issue backing Baker Mayfield and the Browns, okay? The Raiders get about 1 sack per game, okay? It's one of the worst. They're one of the worst teams at getting pressure in the NFL, okay? And I get it. Browns lose Odell, but how productive has Odell really been anyway? Baker hasn't been that great. Now, Odell might be able to stretch the field for them deep, and Landry's hasn't been that good either. They still have no Chubb, but Kareem Hunt's, been a decent fill-in, and I say this because last week he plays okay, in a game that was a decent matchup for him. This game figures to play a lot on the ground. And think about it. If it does, couldn't you argue there's still going to be points? The Browns have a good offensive line. They still have Kareem Hunt. Raiders are going to run Josh Jacobs. And Derek Carr, I get it. So Derek Carr is another one. He loves to air the ball deep. You'll see him in a given week throw 5 to 6 really deep passes, whether they work, they don't. Either way, Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield's inaccurate without wind. It'll probably be a little wild to see him in 3rd and longs today. So it is a little scary to be backing the Browns in that aspect. But for me, especially at the new number at 1, it's almost like you can get them on the money line, probably minus 112, minus 115. I definitely lean the Browns here, primarily because better offensive line, and they can lean on Kareem Hunt, and hopefully they don't put Baker Mayfield in a lot of 3rd and longs. And even if they do, the Raiders just don't get pressure. So I feel like I'm getting the better defense. I'm getting the better offense. And the question mark is, of course, a lot of people are like, oh, well, what is this team going to do without Odell? It's not like Odell's been super productive this year anyway. So how much of a drop-off really is it? lean Browns at the new number.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. So let's go to the next one. Tennessee at Cincinnati. And this is a little concerning too, because the winds went from 18, now they're in the low 20s. We got some gusts there. I mean, we just got wind everywhere. What the hell is this due to? Is this from that tropical it can't be still going out. I think it's the Russians. It's going on up in the Arctic. They're doing all this fracking and they're just chopping stuff up. It's definitely the Russians, these sons of bitches.
I blame Trump.
Oh, it's Trump's fault?
Yeah, I blame Trump.
What did he do compared to Putin? Son of a bitch.
I blame Trump.
I know what he's doing, man. He's killing the beluga whales. All right.
Yeah,
we just get back to this besides for blaming Trump. And
you got to blame somebody. I'm blaming Trump.
All right, fine. I'm blaming Putin. Anyways, 54.5 was the open for Tennessee and Cincinnati. So that's the first thing we got to get to you. And the second thing is that so the total's down to, it's up back up 50.5, 49.5. 7 points is the spread here. Tennessee laying a touchdown on the road, JJ.
Yeah, so this is the way this line is what it is purely because this is just a huge matchup discrepancy. So I think that ultimately this is probably going to be a game where you might get, money both sides, right? Your Cincinnati money, your Tennessee money, but I think your sharpest money more than likely is coming in on Tennessee here, primarily because this is just a huge matchup discrepancy. Cincinnati cannot stop the run. Tennessee has the best guy between the tackles in the NFL, and a guy that's going to just wear this defense down. Then when you talk about the wind, who's it going to impact more? It will impact Cincinnati more. However, Cincinnati throws a lot of short passes. Like this team you do not see Burrow ripping the ball 30, 40 yards downfield. It just doesn't happen. So how much could the wind impact them? I mean, I don't know. How much do you think wind will impact a 10-yard slant? Because that's going to be a lot of what Burrow throws today.
Yep.
He throws every week anyway.
Yep.
With that said, though, this has the makings of a game where Tennessee just runs the ball all game long and pushes them back. Now, whether that becomes an issue in the first quarter, second quarter, or as the course of the game goes on, either way, this offensive line is going to really push back Cincinnati for most of the game. Can Cincinnati keep pace is the big question. If this total dipped into, because I'm seeing some 49s, if I saw some like 48.5, 48s, I definitely start targeting the over, primarily because, again, Tennessee, from a pace perspective, they're one of the fastest teams in the country. And if they go up, it's going to force Cincinnati to play faster, which you would think you would just inevitably get points on the board that way. But yeah, Derrick Henry is in such a smash spot today behind that O-line and against this defensive front. So it's tough to basically, if you're going to bet Cincinnati, you're more or less assuming they're just going to be able to, Burrow's going to be able to keep pace with this offense, because you'd have to have some weird things happen for Tennessee not to like put up over 3 touchdowns today. You could even think about targeting Tennessee's team total over, because it'd be very hard to believe that they wouldn't go over it, especially at the new number. And Scott brings up a good point. So believe it or not, Holden, the worst team in the NFL on getting off the field on third down on defense is the Tennessee Titans. They give up I think it's 59% third down conversion on defense, which is not a good recipe. However, the big idea is you got to get Joe Burrow into third and longs. But Tennessee's another one of those teams, much like the Raiders, they do not get pressure. So how much is the wind going to impact this game? I don't know. Tannehill doesn't air the ball downfield all that often, and Burrow is a big, 10 to 20 yard guy in terms of what he typically throws. So I don't know. Probably not much in my opinion. In my opinion, it's not going to be 7.5 points worth as far as what the line's moved. But either way, lean for me in this game would actually be over if it dips one more point.
Well, let's really quick talk about the prop that I sent you earlier in the week. I think it was like Thursday night. AJ Brown, 65 or 66.5 yards. So I am worried about winning a lot of places, but here's where I'm not worried about, guys. Yards after the catch, the Yak Daddies, right? The Brandon Ayuks tonight, the Corey Davises. Corey Davis, you said he can catch an 8-yard slant, take it to the house. And I still feel like Tennessee's I think both these teams are still going to throw in this instance. So we'll see what happens. I don't feel as great because I think the number got pushed up on Brown, but I did like it early in the week and I'm going to stick with it. I mean, now does that completely go against everything that you said?
No, because a lot of what Brown catches are 12, 15 yards, him and Corey Davis. I personally think Corey Davis is butt cheeks, but AJ Brown at least catches, 10 to 15 yards. And look, he catches it in open space. The dude's gone, so, and Tannehill doesn't really, again, Tannehill's not a guy that bombs the ball downfield anyway. So don't get me wrong. I think that they'll leverage the play action a bit to find some stuff over the middle. Maybe Jonnu, maybe A.J. Brown. But regardless, I don't think it's going to have all that much impact specifically on A.J. Brown.
All right, New England and Buffalo. So here's an interesting one. As the totals dropped all the way to 40.5, and we've got Buffalo being more of a favorite. This has been pushed up to 4.5. So we do have a little bit of movement here, especially over the week because the total is a drop from 44.5, 40.5. Okay, so Josh Allen's been garbage the last couple weeks, and you're hoping he runs if you want to get this total up. How's New England going to score today? Do you want to tell me that?
Okay, so best bet here from me, New England team total over 17.5. You have correlated movement here in both directions. You have a total that's gone down 5 points, and you have a Buffalo spread that's gone up about 1.5, maybe even 2 points. So this has, in essence, created a team total that's been pushed down for New England to 17.5. And here's the logic. So there's only been 2 games all year where Buffalo's given up less than 23 points. Both of those games were the New York Jets. This is a team that has so many injuries on defense, and they are just so bad against the run. They're literally like bottom 7 or bottom 8 in nearly every rushing category. And what's the one thing New England can do well, right? When things are going good for New England with Cam Newton, what's the one thing that they can do well? It's run the football. So I think that overall, this is a game where, sure, the wind's going to play a factor. You got 2 very inaccurate quarterbacks, okay? But I prefer New England's run game to at least be able to move the ball downfield. Be able to slowly move the ball downfield and give themselves scoring opportunities. Now, I'm not a guy that's going to sit here and be like, oh, New England's definitely going to cover this spread. I don't know, because I don't know what version of offense you're going to get from Buffalo. If you're going to get anywhere near the version of offense we've been getting the last 3-4 weeks from Buffalo, they'll probably lose outright. But if Buffalo's offense shows up in any regard, they should be able to win this game. But this is a big game for New England. Now, if you're Billy Belichick, you've now lost 3 straight, which is something that's been unheard of over the last decade. Now, I'm not saying that he's sitting there stapling his eyes open all week, focusing on making sure he wins this game, but you can make the argument that this is the game to potentially win the division, or maybe not win the division, but at least for New England, if they lose this game, they'll lose the division losing this game. I mean, they'll be pretty far back out losing this game. So look, you hear how Cam comes out and says, I got to be better. Everybody's got to be better. To me, I don't know if I buy into all that. But what I do buy into is Bill Belichick's going to know, looking at the tape on Buffalo, you can run between the tackles on this team. A lot of read options today would be something I expect from Cam and that running back bunch, short passes. So I think they move the ball with success today, specifically on the ground, and I think they get over that low 17.5 number.
I hope you're right, because I tailed you. All righty then. Hustle Wilson is on Gorilla Glue with a blueberry muffin this morning. Don't like the diesel taste. Don't know how you stay up all day, Hustle Wilson, but would love the reaction from you. And then, of course, we got the Millennium Goddess, who is 1 week he's 2.2, next week he's 8.8. It's pretty crazy. He's obviously
it's drugs, Holden.
Huh?
It's drugs.
He's on drugs like Viagra and stuff, or
like the synthetic stuff. Yeah, the stuff
that makes that. You ever use that stuff?
I've been offered it.
I have taken Viagra on quite a few occasions. The first time I was 27, and that poor girl could not have been walking very well because it lasted forever, dude. It just wouldn't stop.
You had like a 12-hour coat hanger?
Yeah, I wanted to get it over with, and it just wouldn't. I couldn't, my brain. So anyways, as we continue. I'm in a mood, buddy. New Orleans and Chicago today. More wind, right? We didn't do this game yet. Total open at 47, Nolans and Chicago. And then we look at the total today. We're back up to 42 at one place, 41.5, 40. Oh, William Hill has it 42. If you want to bet the under there, 4.5 is basically the line. Lots of wind. So let me just ask you something. How does Chicago do against New Orleans offense? Because I think the Saints are in for a long day on that side of the ball.
Okay, so there is the argument that the Saints play very bad outside the dome. The Saints have a ton of injuries they're dealing with. Thomas, Sanders, and the kid from Tennessee is also out, the wide receiver. What's his name?
Callaway?
Yeah, Marcus Callaway. So he's out too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this team's basically got like practice squad dudes and Traquan Smith, whose cheeks going out for them today. The one thing –
You don't like him? You don't like Traquan Smith?
I mean, What I know is every time this dude's supposed to have his opportunity, he never does. So like I don't know how I'm supposed to like him. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's got good peripherals, but every time he's supposed to be the guy that steps up, he never is. So I don't know. But what I will say is, okay, so the wind in this game, believe it or not, it actually will impact Chicago more. There are very few teams in the NFL that throw the ball more than Chicago. Now, it's a lot of short passes, so maybe it's not going to impact that much. But from a pass versus run, and even on neutral situations, Chicago throws the ball a ton. And the reason they're probably throwing the ball a ton is how bad they've been running the football. This team has averaged less than 3 yards per carry 4 straight games. David Montgomery, I think the project of David Montgomery has been pretty much a failure from onset. This dude was so good at Iowa State. It's crazy to think that he can't do anything in the NFL. Could be the offensive line, could be the schematics. Regardless, he has been very poor running the football, and still, of course, is now. Which team runs the football better, right? If you're talking wind, I think this is why you're seeing a lot of the movement in favor of the Saints. Of course, the Saints run the football better, okay? And in terms of, working off play action, it's going to be in favor of the Saints. So the problem is the Saints aren't throwing the ball to anybody, right? But that didn't seem to be an issue last week, right? Callaway kind of steps in. Nobody even knows who he is. Dude steps in and plays pretty well. What do you have, 9 catches for 90 yards, something like that? So ultimately, lean for me, even at the bad number, would be Saints at 4.5. I never like getting bad numbers, but ultimately I want to give you guys a side on each of these games that I would lean the Saints here, just because I can't bet on Chicago. I get it. I hate also betting on teams after when they lose an embarrassing game in prime time. But when you take all the factors into consideration, like the only way the Bears win this would be just like a string of weird things happen, fumbles at weird points in time, referees calling pass interferences when they shouldn't. Weird things would have to happen for the Bears to end up coming out with a win here, despite it being the Saints on the road. And we know how bad they are on the road or can be on the road. But when you talk about wind and which team runs the football better, it's the Saints by a long margin.
By a long margin. So we lean in here? We got to lean?
Yeah, Saints.
Beautiful. Like it.
There you go, Diego.
Huh?
Diego wanted to know about the coffee.
What are you drinking?
Macchiato.
God, you drink the shittiest coffee in the world. I mean, seriously, can't you just drink some black coffee one of these days and just be a man?
Black coffee?
Look, I mean, I drink black coffee in a Minnie Mouse cup, and I'm still more alpha than you are.
That's true. Black coffee's disgusting.
It really is. I do a little pinch of sugar and a little bit of cream, just like a little bit. So
I'd rather drink rat poison than black coffee.
No, you wouldn't. Then you'd be dead. You couldn't do this show with me on Sundays, and then you wouldn't win money betting, and everybody'd be sad. And then what would happen to your girlfriend? And come on, man, stop talking like that. If you're depressed, call me. I could talk you down from it. Indianapolis at Detroit. We actually have a good weather game. It's in the Dome. It's Indianapolis given 3 on the road. At Detroit, 49.5 is the total. All right, we got to go back to Jonathan Taylor again. Okay.
Oh, hold on. I mean, I'll give out my prize picks after. I mean,
is he in it
on this? I'll give out my prize picks at the end of this video. But yeah, let me get you some Jonathan Taylor stuff here. Yeah, it's time for double or nothing. Oh
no, I think it's nothing or nothing.
Oh, they're hanging a 16.9. That's too low, Holden.
That's under.
That's too low. He definitely goes over that.
He's going over that today?
I'm trying to get you to bet it over.
No, I'm not betting that over. Not today. And actually, this is like the 1 week he could. So I'll take the under.
Oh, boring.
Are you going to be a pussy and back out of this?
What do you back out of it? Back out of it? If Prize Picks hung a number of 6, I wouldn't bet it over.
Yeah. All right. We'll just pass this week then. We'll pass.
Okay, so this game here, ultimately, this comes down to a few things. So I don't like any side in this game. I'm not gonna say okay. I lean here. But what I will tell you is this: Colts are off a bye. Detroit's been playing a little better. So I think ultimately a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, I like Detroit. I like Detroit here catching 3 at home against the Colts, who seem to be frauds. Now they're coming off their bye, so they get a little extra time to prepare here. But the way this line is, you're more or less buying high on Detroit, selling low on the Colts. And I don't know if I like that aspect of this game at all. Now you could argue for the under over. This is a big total though. Turnovers probably do happen on the Colts end. It seems to be a Rivers thing weekly, religiously. No pun intended, because I know how religious that dude is. But ultimately, for me in this game, you really have to ask yourself this. which coach can I trust more? Patricia sucks. And he finds ways to blow games late. Now, they were just handed a gift last week in Atlanta. They had no business winning that game. And now they play the Colts, who are a little better defensively. But I'm interested to see how these two play out. But realistically, if you bet the Colts, expect turnovers. And if you bet Detroit, expect bad decisions to be made coaching-wise. Either way, it's going to be a stay-away spot for me.
Okay, let's move on down. So the Kansas City game against the Jets, this thing opened at 21, went down to 19, and now I'm seeing it creep back up to 20 in a whole bunch of places. You get 19.5 still at BetMGM, but you start going to William Hill. You go to DraftKings, it's at 20. Not worried about the weather here. All right, so JJ, here's my take, and the total is 49. Here's my take on this game, that everybody's afraid on the Chiefs side that they're going to get so high that they're just going to run the ball. Right? They're going to get up so much that they're just going to run the ball and they're not going to be able to do it. I think the Chiefs can go out today and they've had a pretty inconsistent offense to this point. That you get 3/4 of elite Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs offense. I mean, I've been leaning the over on this. I don't like that it came back up to 20, but I'm still thinking about this 19.5. Am I insane?
No, not at all. But I will say this. There's no motivation in the NFL for a team to win by 3 touchdowns. So you run into that issue. Now, you ultimately want sort of a good game script to get you here. So you want the Chiefs to go up early, right? And then just kind of keep leaning on the run game. Interesting narrative here, of course, Lev Bell, right, to land in the end zone. He hates the Jets. You got to figure Chiefs will get him the opportunity to score today. The odds are probably terrible. And I know I saw plus 140 Friday night, probably even worse now. Just an interesting little narrative if you're into that. But what I will say in this one specifically, which version? So the Jets are more or less down 2 more receivers, right? Denzel Mims, who's the guy they lifted off the IR, is going to be their de facto receiver today. Like, who else do they even have, Holden?
They got Berrios, they got Smith, and they got your boy.
So Jeff Smith, who has brick hands,
correct,
and Berrios, who's 5'3". So this
correct.
this team more or less is going to be throwing the ball to next to nobody. But they've been, Sam Darnold's been dealing with that all year. Now, Kansas City's got a decent pass rush too. Look, this is a game. If Kansas City wants to win by 40, they'll win by 40. The big question is, where's the motivation for a team to win by that much? And is this kind of like another laydown spot for Kansas City? Overall, I'm with you, Holden. I really can't take the points with the Jets here because, look, even last week, the lone game they've covered all year, which was an adjusted spread, okay? An adjusted spread for a game they covered. Buffalo had 8 opportunities to score. They were in field goal range 8 different times. They kicked field goals and they missed 2. If they score 1 touchdown instead of kicking one of those 5, they cover. If they make those 2 field goals that they missed, they cover. So ultimately, again, this Jets team just consistently gives up big plays. I would definitely lean Kansas City here. But again, how do you ever feel good about laying that many points? But I definitely want no part of the Jets.
God, they're so goddamn good, the Chiefs are. Again, I just don't think their offense has even come close to clicking like they should be at this point. So
I agree.
Huh?
I agree.
Yeah. So today is the day at Kansas City, to me, that they're going to go off. I'm talking myself into this the closer we get to it. Rams and Miami. Who the hell knows what to expect out of Tua time? Here's another total that kind of dropped a little bit. It's down to 45.5, 46, depending on where you shop. 3.5-point favorites on the road are the Rams. Maybe this is lazy, but I'm just staying away from this game because I have no idea what to expect from Tua. Is it lazy or just afraid?
Probably more afraid. I'll tell you this. I'm a huge Tua guy, and I know that maybe a lot of people aren't, whatever. Maybe people are jumping on the bandwagon now. But I'm a big college guy. So, I watch a lot of these. I get to watch a lot of these kids play college. And look, I'm no scout. I'm not going to act like I'm a scout or think I know this, that, or the other thing, or know the dick size of these players. But what I will say, maybe some of them, Holden. Don't hold your breath there.
Hey, I've been in plenty of locker rooms, and it's like I would go home and just be like, I don't even want to talk to a woman.
What I've ever
been with one of these guys, you're not even going to feel me. So
What I will say about Tua specifically is this dude
Yeah.
was going to be a de facto number 1 overall pick. People forget, or maybe may have forgotten Tank for Tua back in the earlier last year with Miami. And Miami was fortunate enough to get him anyway. He has that freak injury, which kind of derails him a bit. He hasn't really been plagued by injuries, though. Like, it's not like he's been like multiple injuries throughout his college career, high school career. This dude just throws a tremendous from what I've seen from Alabama, and you'll make the argument, oh, well, he played with a bunch of number 1 receivers. There's always number 1 receivers at Alabama. So, like, how can you even make that argument? A.J. McCarron played with a ton of number 1 receivers. Okay, I mean, the 2 of them that call off the top of my head.
You there, buddy? Uh-oh.
Julio and Amari Cooper played for Alabama.
All right, we got you. You're stopping. You're talking fast. You're freaking out. What is in that coffee, bro?
It's the it's the Tua that gets
All
me
right,
going.
go back to the last sentence you said because I didn't hear a goddamn thing.
Oh, so Tua. So what I was saying was, people make the argument that Tua had all these number 1 receivers that he got to play with. And my thing is well, A.J. McCarron got to play with a bunch of number 1 receivers in Alabama, and he wasn't all that good. Guys like Julio, Amari Cooper, Alabama always has number 1 receivers that play for the Crimson Tide. But with Tua, there was very few quarterbacks I've ever seen throw as smooth of a 30 to 50-yard ball consistently as him and as accurate as him. I'm interested to see how that translates here now in the NFL. It's also an interesting coaching move to do this off the bye, right? Because if Tua tanks today, right? What do you do if you're Flores? I mean, it's a decision you made to bench Fitzpatrick in this spot. Ultimately, I think truly, and from everything I've read, Tua has been impressing everybody at practice. It's almost been one of those things where it's like, holy shit, we have to start this kid. Like, we have to start this kid. I think they were probably thinking about doing it for the Jets game, but figured, let's wait for a full bye week. Maybe we redo the offense a bit. He's much more mobile than Fitzpatrick, and Fitzpatrick's mobile as it is. So I think they've really liked what they've seen out of the kid. Again, I've told you, in college, I've seen very few, if any, quarterbacks throw a smoother 30 to 50-yard ball. Now, he doesn't have like a cannon for an arm. He's not going to sit there and launch the ball like Mahomes, but he's extremely accurate in those big 30, 50-yard windows. I expect him to take plenty of downfield shots. You can even run a bunch of like read options with him. I just think he opens up the playbook for them. Now, will it translate in today's game specifically is a question you have to answer. That I don't know, but over the course of the season, this is, of course, the better move. Interested to see how he plays out, especially against a guy like Aaron Donald on the other side. Lean for me, though, definite Dolphins plus the 3.5.
Ooh, all right. I like it. Let's get to the afternoon game here. We got a few afternoon games, but I don't see two. What do we got? We got Seattle and San Francisco. We got the Chargers and Denver. What's the other 4:00 game that I'm missing here? We didn't even get it. Is it only 2 games today? There's no way.
I see 3, 4 o'clock. So we did New Orleans, Chicago already.
All right. That was the other one. Okay. Very good. And then we did the other game we got to get to from 1 o'clock then is Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
Correct.
This is the juiciest game of the day. Baltimore, 4-point favorites at home. Let's see here. Keg got on this at 6. I woke up early in the morning. I got in it on 5 and back in at 4 on the Pittsburgh side. I love the Steelers. Now they're gonna have a hiccup a couple times this year, but it's total sitting at 45. Oh boy, which side are you on, JJ?
Yeah, definite lean for me, Steelers. I think that at the 4.5, so here's the reason why. Here's the reason why I can't bet it at 4. So John Harbaugh, after a bye, is like 10-2 against the spread since he's been coaching Baltimore, I believe. His numbers are really good against the spread off a bye. So he's going to be over prepared. Now the issue is like when you talk about what these teams do well and what they don't do well, like Lamar Jackson has regressed this year versus last. Okay, he's not as good of a passer, and he's definitely not running the ball as effectively either. Now he plays arguably the best pass rush in the NFL. I mean, Pittsburgh averages like almost 5 sacks a game, and they're speedy. Like it's not like and now Devin Bush is a big hit because that's a speedy linebacker and a dude that was probably going to be spying him most of this game. So that's a big hit. So Bush didn't become an issue last week for them, but he could be an issue now. Now, the biggest issue I see with Pittsburgh's team is their ability to just consistently give up big plays. This team like leads the league in yards lost, in plays where yards are lost, whether it's yards behind rushes that go for negative yards. But then they just give up a ton of big plays. They did it a few times last week too. Every single week they're giving up big plays. This is seemingly And I don't know if it's a complacent defense, but at minimum, it's an undisciplined one, especially in third and longs, which is a little scary when you think about playing a team like Baltimore that's going to leverage play action and have dudes that are speedy, potentially to be open downfield. I just think that Lamar Jackson has proven that in big games like this, he always seems to struggle. And now he's going to be getting a fast pass rush in his face. Now, the biggest concern for me on Pittsburgh's end is, again, the big plays. This team, in a perfect world, the team that scores first has such an advantage. Now, I would say this. The team that scores first, whatever the mathematical line is going to be, I will say it's not going to be worth enough. So I think there's going to be value in whatever team scores first ultimately ends up winning the game. You could argue to make that bet from both sides off. Baltimore scores first and wins. Pittsburgh scores first and wins, because it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be a lot of ball control, and I think it's going to be a team that forces extra pressure on the other with a lead. But either way, you would expect Baltimore to come out with a nice game script off a bye, and they've had enough tape to review on Pittsburgh. And look, Pittsburgh, there's only been 2 teams all year who've had an easier schedule than Pittsburgh. So overall, when you put it into perspective, the line makes sense at 4. I just don't know if Pittsburgh's getting enough love here. Or Baltimore's just getting too much love. Either way, would lean Pittsburgh at 4. Don't love it at that number at all, though. So it'll more than likely be a stay-away spot for me.
Okay, let's get to these afternoon games. We already got to New Orleans, Chicago. Like you said, 4 o'clock game. San Francisco, Seattle. The Russell Wilson show continues, and this time we don't even know if he's going to have a running back. And if Chris Carson even plays, what's he going to do? And then are they going to rely on Travis Homer to actually run the ball, or is he just going to be a pass catching back if he plays? DJ Dallas, are you kidding me? So first of all, I like the total in this game, over 53.5. A lot of guys on the DFS side, including myself, are on Jimmy Garoppolo today. It is very, very uncomfortable situation, but this is a total that really dropped, isn't it? We're down to 2.5 now. Seattle 2.5, and then the total's 53.5. Do you have a lean here? Because this is one of the games. The nicest weather this week is in Seattle. It's amazing.
Yeah, so definite lean for me is Seattle minus the 2.5. Now, I've been somebody that hasn't really been on the Seattle bandwagon this year. I've kind of faded them a few times. Kind of burned me early on, helped me out last week with Arizona. But now it's almost like people don't trust this team anymore. Russell Wilson's doing too much. I don't know the Jamal Adams status. Do you know Jamal Adams? Is he playing tonight?
Jamal Adams is likely out.
Okay, so that's a big deal for this team's pass rush, especially with a guy like Jimmy G, who plays a lot worse with a pass rush or against a good pass rush. And Seattle's just got one of the worst in the league. They actually probably are the worst in the league at getting pressure, and especially without Adams. But my big thing is, I'm just not a Jimmy G guy in any respect. So I know that, they might be able to run the ball with success. The play action I'm sure will work. But Seattle's home. Wilson's as crazy as it sounds. He's good home or away. It doesn't really matter. And Seattle's home of the 12th man. They don't have the crowd to back them like they usually do. But either way, I'm just not a Jimmy G guy. And this line more or less means that these two teams are equal on a neutral. And with all the injuries to San Francisco's defensive line, I'm just not on board with these two teams being equal. I think Seattle's better, and I can get it at 2.5 here. And I think I'm more or less getting to buy low on Seattle, sell high on San Fran. Happy to do it, and I'm happy to take Wilson minus the 2.5.
Hey, Adams might be a game-time decision, so they're saying he's questionable at this point. You look at the beat writers, a lot of them don't think he's going to play. But what if Adams does play? Change anything for you?
Oh, yeah. If Adams plays, to me, it's a huge upgrade for Seattle.
Yep. So there you go. And we'll double down on Seattle then, right? We'll just go after him. Here's the game no one's talking about. Chargers, Denver. I think, didn't this open as a pick 'em a while ago? And now we're sitting here at Chargers 3-point favorites on the road. Now, last week I went against the Chargers just because I thought they'd play down to their competition like they always do with Anthony Lynn. Maybe he just finally has a quarterback and his life's going to be a lot easier. But is this Denver team really as bad as they looked with Drew Lock under center? Total here is 44.5. That's a pretty low total today. Is there what's your side, and what's your thoughts first on that 44.5?
Yeah, 44.5. The lean will be under. The big thing for me is really playing styles. So Denver is going to want to play this game low. Okay, they're going to want to play this game low scoring, and not that the Chargers want to play high scoring. I think they're content to play high or low. But either way, Herbert road game, defense that's been, I think, better than people thought, or better than people thought coming in, especially with no Khalil. But either way, Drew Lock just had a really weird week last week. And as crazy as it sounds, like Denver played pretty well last week, despite if you look at the box score, I mean, they like outgained Kansas City by 100 yards. They did so many things better. There was just a few fluky touchdowns against them. But either way, the Chargers have been playing really well. So it's kind of tough to gauge in terms of a spread here. But I do lean under in a game that figures to play between the 40s. Denver's run game hopefully is going to try to slow this game down. And Herbert's going to continue to take shots downfield, which I think Denver will be prepared for. So either way, I do like the total at what it is at 44. Slight lean under. Not a spot I love in any regard, but I do lean the under.
God damn it, Adam Teicher. The Chiefs beat writer. Strong wins at Arrowhead today. Might be a good day for the Chiefs to give it to Le'Veon Bell. Fuck you, man. Come on, dude. Can we just have some normalcy today? There's just nothing normal. Screw this win. I just want how about 5 blizzards? I'd rather play in 5 blizzards than 5 6-win games. You got to embrace the win, Holden. I fuck the win. Sorry about my language here, but this is a premium show, right?
No, it's a free show.
You got to be kidding me.
Oh, it's all. I mean, it's all good.
You know what you're getting. You know what you're getting when you're hanging out with us.
I've been cursing on this channel for years.
Have you really? And they don't do anything, right?
No,
nobody cares. Prize picks, and before we go, if you guys have any questions, like this is the time to do it. I got to run in 8 minutes, so we're gonna have like 5 minutes for your questions. Hit us up in the chat here. That'll be wonderful. Yeah,
and if you're gonna have a couple of questions in the meantime, we'll talk on Prize Picks. So. As you guys know, or may have known, so we're a partner of Prize Picks. We love everything that's on their site. It's a fun site, right? It offers, instead of like making actual bets or instead of picking actual players specifically for DFS, the idea is you're picking players to go over or under their fantasy point totals based on the scoring rubric on Prize Picks, and it's a pretty standard scoring format. Okay, but what I will say is for today. I like 3 plays, and I always like to do them on Prize Picks. You can do a flex play or a power play. Flex play means you can get one wrong and get some money back. Power play works like a parlay where you got to get them all right, but the odds pay a lot better. I like 3 plays in particular. And before I give them out, for you that aren't signed up there, head over there, prizepicks.com. A lot of our Discord guys have been loving it. We're getting a lot of winners over there on their site. If you sign up, prizepicks.com, use promo code PURE, you get 100% deposit match bonus. Up to $100. It's free money for signing up. Again, free up to a free $100. What I do like today, so 3 players in particular. So Dalvin Cook, over 18 fantasy points. Number is just too low, right? I think the number is what it is. I think people are a little scared of the injury. If he plays, he's going to be a full go. And look, they need him to be a full go. Like Madison clearly hasn't been the same. Or has been a clear downgrade, at least in the few, one game that he's been playing in.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be happy to have Cook back, and they're going to lean on him as they always do anyway. Green Bay's not exactly great versus the run either. Game that sees a lot of wind expects to have Dalvin Cook catch a bunch of passes too. So I like Cook to go over 18. And then another one, Jarvis Landry, over 13.2 points. Now, I know this dude's dusty, right? But when we talk target share volume, I mean, this guy should be getting his volume today. Is it crazy to think that he goes 7 catches for 60 yards? That means 7 catches for 65 yards at 13.5 points. Not crazy. And look, if he scores, happens to land in the end zone, that's a big plus. This number is way too low based on projected volume for him with no Odell. And especially since he's their short route guy, right? I mean, if you're going to talk about wind and who's it going to favor, it'll favor Landry. The dude runs a bunch of short routes. And my third play, which is seemingly a play on this show weekly, Jonathan Taylor, under 16.9 fantasy points. I say this week in and week out. Like, this dude sucks. I mean, like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, he's going to beat me one of these weeks, okay? But he hasn't yet. He's going to – I mean, I know Big T is drinking the Kool-Aid for Jonathan Taylor. But for me, I'm the exact opposite. I'm just going to keep playing his bets under. I know that he from a volume standpoint, he could get there in any week. And, of course, if he scores, makes a big difference too. But, again, he hasn't shown me anything all season. So I'm just going to keep playing him under while the market continues to think he's good. So those 3 picks from Prize Picks, Dalvin Cook over 18, Landry over 13.2, Jonathan Taylor under 16.9. Again, head over prizepicks.com, promo code PURE, 100% deposit bonus match up to $100. And then Holden, we can recap our best bets. For me, my best bet is New England over their team total, 17.5. I know it's hard. It's a hard bet to make, but we have correlated movement here that's made this line favorable for me in a game and against a team in Buffalo who gives up points to everyone. So I'm happy to grab the 17.5 there in a borderline must-win game for New England. So happy to take that there. And then Holden, what do you like?
Well, I never made the sheet, but AJ Brown at over 65.5 yards. Now, did you not post that just because I didn't seem like the Cousins thing, or did you not post that just because you forgot? Or you're like, you know what? This guy got two wrong the last 3 weeks. Let's just.
I didn't post it because you said you would let me know.
Oh, I didn't know that. Dude, seriously, you got to be sober when you're talking to JJ, okay? You got to do it. You can't just, guys, I know all we see over here is, you're smoking blunts and you're doing this and you're doing that. Be sober when you're placing your bets. Yesterday, I bet an over when I meant to bet an under, so I had to bet the other side of things. I lost I'm just going, man, what am I doing here? You can't do that. You got to stay sober, guys. That's why I'm sober all day today. Okay?
That's great.
All right. There was a couple of questions we had here, and I don't even remember where the hell they are now. We like language. Oh, the best bet for me today was what? Cousins under 257.5, I want to say. What was on the sheet? I think it was Cousins under 257.5. I think he's a crappy quarterback who is not going to be able to spread the field or go down the field, who is going to have to rely on Thielen and Jefferson and Cook for yards after the catch. And I'm not saying they're not going to get that, but I'm also not comfortable with that happening. Under 258.5.
Cool. Yeah, I like that.
That's it. So that's my bet. Adams props a pass today. Is that 7.5 receptions? And he murders the Vikings. But again, what are we doing here?
I personally hate betting player props with reception totals that high. I do it sometimes, but I rarely like to do it. It's probably gonna be a stay off spot for me personally, Drex. I see the value though, but man, 7.5. So that's two balls a quarter, in and wind. So it does make sense though. But for me, I'll stay off.
I mean, I skate Baker. Good for you. I'm glad it helps you handicap, but it's not a performance enhancer for me. It's a check out and just enjoy everything for me. Let's see here. What's the best teams for a teaser? Ask Benjamin.
So you guys know, I typically like to do a teaser a week if I find it favorable. This week is just a ugly week, in my opinion, for teasers. If you're talking, I'm just looking at the board here quick. With the new line movement, I wouldn't mind taking New England up to 10.5. They've just been so dusty recently that I don't know if it's going to matter. But you could take New England to 10.5. And you're not going to like this, and this is what I mean by this week's not a great teaser. My two favorites would be taking New England to 10.5 and then taking Kansas City down to 13.5. Those would be my two favorites.
I like that.
But my best bet, John, was I gave it out a few different times in the show. New England team total over 17.5.
Okay. JJ did not say he likes the Jets money line today. That is not accurate. Scott wants to know Miami and Minnesota teaser. What do you think about that?
So Miami going to 9.5. I hate 9.5, and I see that often on social media, like people taking teasers to 9.5. What is why would you do that? I don't get it. I'll see. 8.5. I guess you could argue if a team goes down a full touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But why do I see so many teams taking teasers to 9.5? Unless is the Miami game 4.5 now?
Yeah, 4.5. No, it's 10.5.
So Miami is
no. It's 3.5 still. It's 3.5 still. It is not
9.5. I don't like taking it to 9.5, Scott. And then Minnesota is current line is 6. So what, you taking Minnesota to 12? Yeah, I don't like that either. Look, they can hit, but there comes a point when you're betting teasers that you can't just bet teasers just to bet them. You gotta be moving through key numbers and landing right through key numbers. You can't just move numbers just to move them.
Agree. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here? Oh, Trent Brown is out again for the Raiders. That's
no, I'm good. Thanks everybody for hanging out as always. Had a good turnout. Thanks for the questions as well. Again, Holden likes Cousins under the passing yards. I like New England over their team total. On Prize Picks, I like Dalvin Cook over, Landry over, and Jonathan Taylor under. I wish you guys all the best of luck with all your bets today. It's a shame, Holden. It's a shame. You're going to hear it on this show every week. Jonathan Taylor and under.
Well, how many points is it?
16.9.
I mean, that's a lot of points this week. He has a great matchup. I'm not buying it though.
It was just a week ago or 2 weeks ago where it was 17.5 and you liked it over.
Yeah, well, once you get burned, it's tough to. Recency bias is killing me on this one. So,
but okay, guys, thanks again for popping and hanging out with us. Hope we hit the best bets for you. Wish you all the best of luck with all your bets, and head over to us at runpurebets.com. We had an incredible week this week. Overall, I did really well in college football. Jay and Joey did great in UFC. Chwadi added some college football plays as well, which did well. We have a bunch of plays posted up today for NFL. Again, $20 for the whole week. It's dirt cheap, and you get in the Discord with us. Where you
have the discount. Is the discount still there, or did everybody miss out on that didn't sign it? Did you even know there was a discount?
I don't remember the code off the top of my head. It's
it was like bets 25 or something.
No, bets 25 off. Yeah, so that's 25% off your first purchase with us, whether you do week or month. So again, super cheap. You get all the picks, you get all the content. But again, guys, thanks again for hanging out with us. Wish you all the best of luck with all your bets. And look, stay safe. See you.